I'm a pepper, she's a pepper, he's a pepper, they're a pepper. Wouldn't you like to be a pepper too? Hey, y'all, come on in. You're here on a great day.
We're having a big slice of cherry pie today with the help of Ariana and Evans.
It's a beautiful morning with the Barbershop Duet.
Hi, I'm Marcus Klinger with Klinger Vocal Studio.
And I'm Sarah Vincent with Sarah Vincent Virtual Pilates.
But on Wednesdays and Saturdays,
we are the Barbershop Duet.
Hey, y'all, come on in. Thank you for finding our little barbershop. If you happen to be here during one of the live premieres on YouTube, why, come on in the live chat. Meet the Whiff Pack. Cool group of friends hanging out from all over the world. They'd love to meet you too.
They would. And for our mention today, Marcus would like to talk about the EDP Tobacco Road from Ariana and Evans.
Y'all, I thought I knew what tobacco could be in the fragrance world, and then I discovered Tobacco Road and the new tincture of tobacco from Ariana and Evans. Rich, deep, smoky in an oudish way, almost powdery when it's on her, completely unlike anything I had ever experienced before, but it defines tobacco for me now. From the sales page, your scent notes are
Hinoki, honey, bay leaf, tobacco, smoke, amber, and sandalwood.
And guaranteed, there's even more going on in this. How do you like this scent?
I think I just like the line of where the spices are still dry, but somehow subtly sweet. I use this all year round, and I reach for it at times I never think I will, and it's always the best choice.
And I think that's why it's a great summery scent. It does have a beautiful dryness about it. Reminds me of those desert breezes rolling through. And for our soap today, y'all, we're going to pull up to a little diner along the edges of Route 66 and have a big old slab of cherry pie. Come along with us. All right, y'all, so this is part of our last call series, as Peter and Ariana and Evans have recently announced they will be retiring the K2E base. So we grabbed a few that we have always been curious about to sneak them in before they go away forever. From the sales page for cherry pie with rum and oud. I didn't catch that at first. This may not be just a slab of cherry pie. What's it say here?
Cherry pie is a deliciously decadent fragrance. I think this will be enjoyed year-round and not over-the-top gourmand, but certainly will be classified as such. This is not a straight-up fruit scent, as it does present some character and warmth due to the oud and rum notes, as well as coumarin and woods.
And while 2025 was definitely the summer of the peach, we proclaimed in January that we kind of figured that this year was going to be the year of the cherry. Now, cherry pie's been around a long time, but how do we not bring this out now? Come on, y'all, let's open the box. All right, y'all, so this is the box. Corinthian leather came in. They are always beautifully packaged from A&E, and look at that label, a little bit sassy. Reminds me of my cousin Sheila. Constant viewers remember my cousin Sheila. She used to do a trick with a cherry stem where she would tell. Anyway, it's a long story, but that reminds me of Sheila.
This label looks like it was kind of hand-drawn or something to make it look like that.
Beautiful.
All the details, and our actual label doesn't say with rum and oud like it does on the picture on the website.
You're right. Well, y'all, come along with us, because I have a feeling there are some mysteries and wonders to be found inside of this scent. Let's have a first impression. So I'm always kind of curious how much of Tom Ford's iconic Lost Cherry is going to be inside of some of these cherry scents, but I don't think that's where Peter started. I think it's a much different type
side
of cherry. But cherry in perfuming is a fantasy note. There is no cherry essential oil that you can just squeeze out and put in here, so you have to build it with all kinds of cool stuff. In fact, usually when I see a formula on some of my groups for cherry, it's like 15 or 20 lines long to create things like I think we're about to experience. So I'm going to take this in first. Oh, there's some vanilla in there, y'all, for sure. All right, here we go. Taking it in.
Let's see. Maybe not just cherry pie.
Oh, it's perfect. Y'all, it does start with hints for me of Lost Cherry, that benzaldehyde kind of thing going on in here, but it gets much more juicy, much more real, much more tart, like a real cherry would. It's like the best of both worlds. And then there is a whole nother choir of singers going on in here that are kind of giving it a big hug, but the cherry is the prominent center of this scent. Woo! You know how Lost Cherry doesn't have a tang, but a real cherry off the tree does? This is tangy. Oh, I love it. Hold on.
Now you're going to make me wish we got some cherry pie going on. Dang.
I'm telling you. And sometimes cherry can get kind of soapy for me. Not here. This is the real fruit. And it's not a black cherry. This is a red, pristine cherry on the tree. The rum and oud are a bit in the background, being the canvas, so the red of this cherry can just pop out in the dark. But they're there. Okay, it goes cherry and then rum. And it's not all that far from the whiffs of my grandfather's rum and cherry cokes that he used to live on at the American Legion while we were playing shuffleboard and video games. Y'all, it's a lot more that than it is like a slab of cherry pie. Even the effervescence, even somehow, maybe a little cola in the middle of this as well. Just a hint. But it might be there. And then, hold on, the oud. Wait. Oh, this is fabulous. Oud is a mysterious thing. We've been watching Ryan Perfumes on YouTube, which I highly recommend. And he got a bunch of samples of actual oud that were thousands of dollars. And he smelled one. And he just went, oh, this is beautiful. It smells just like a hamster's cage. And we realized, wait a minute, it's about how oud is surrounded by everything else, how it's used to support other sweeter, tartar, other notes like that. And that's what it's doing in here, just giving a sense of a subtle smoke to the room that you're in, as if this diner has been here for 50 years and for 30 of them they allowed smoking. That kind of a thing. Well, it makes it grown up. It makes it so that this is just not like a cherry chapstick kind of a thing. It starts with the room, and then it zooms in on the rum, and then it bursts forth with the cherry. It almost goes to maraschino. Okay. But right before it gets as sweet as maraschino gets, it kind of spreads out into almost a powdery sense. And then you know how like what rosewood does for rose, this is kind of doing for cherry. It's almost giving it a woodiness. It's giving it such a canvas to sit on that I think it would be perceived as a fine cologne long before it would be perceived as cherry pie.
Fun. So you're not wanting to take a bite of this. Like there's no crust to the actual pie portion.
No, it's more syrupy.
Okay.
In my imagination, it's more an actual EDP kind of thing, but it does have kind of that imaginative diner sense and definitely a sense of my grandfather's rum and cherry coke.
It does kind of hint at that on the sales page, but I was wondering how it's gourmand but not. But the way you're explaining it kind of makes sense.
And the rough edges of the oud are perfect to surround it and remind your nose how sweet and beautiful it is, because as soon as it does hit something that could be perceived as a hamster cage, it's going to go bounding back to the center of the thing that it loves the most. And that's how oud is used well. And, well, for that matter, so is civet. There's no Sammy the Civet in here. That was just a little cameo like Hitchcock. He actually lives with Larry Shaves. If you haven't checked out Larry's channel, you should. Now, the hidden gem in here has a little bit of a tell. See that dark color? That's what happens when vanilla oxidizes, typically, in a shave soap, and it usually improves the scent of the vanilla for most of the people that I've talked to. A little bit of age, a little bit of oxidation, and I love how they're using that sense of vanilla to be a binder in between the cherry and the other notes. You wouldn't sense it was there. It's almost being used as a lactonic for like a little bit of a la mode on top of that cherry pie, but it's a segue into the rum and into the oud, and it's fabulous. It's the only thing really familiar in this, but without that jumping off point, I don't think you'd be able to go in either direction. And if you do love that super unique cherry inside of Lost Cherry, that is not far from the very first whiffs I get of this, but then this diverges into such other lanes and such other directions that by the time you're done with your whiff, you have found the cherry and moved on with your life. And you know what I love best? This is not the cherry from inside of my grandmother's Easter pie.
Right.
This is different. This is more aromatic. That's why I'm thinking it sits on a bed of some of the things that are in cola, some of those citruses or something like that. There's just way more to this. And I bring you glad tidings of great joy. This is still available as of today, May 12th, 2026, at the shavingshopclub.com website. And if you're not a member, the discounts are deep and the inventory is amazing. Oh, and what's that you say? Is it masculine or feminine? Well, it's masculine right now, but watch this. I'm going to make a little change, and now it's pretty feminine. Smell this, and imagine what this is going to smell like on your legs. Well,
it's more like the savory side of the cherry, I think. So I see why you were saying it doesn't quite get to maraschino. It doesn't quite get to the candied kind of thing.
Right.
It's not the Tootsie Pop version either. And it's not like the jarred cherries that you use in pie.
Right.
Somehow it's like the most pristine version of them. It has a little bit of the deeper, darker, almost like a black cherry kind of side. And it really does have kind of the approaching the bright side as well. So it's like the best of both worlds without it going too gourmandy, which I didn't think was possible. But I totally get why it hints at that on the sales page now. Like it almost is too pretty to take a bite of, but if you were at like a Michelin star restaurant version of a cherry, I think it's kind of approaching that line.
One of my favorite restaurants within walking distance is the cuisine of northern China, and they make a cherry pork. It is unbelievable, and this is more that cherry. I'm so glad you said savory, almost salty in a way.
There is kind of like a cherry wood kind of thing happening. I don't know if that's where the oud is meeting it or like the sandalwood, something and where like the cherry is meeting all the other scent notes. It's adding a little charm to them. So I don't get a bite of cherry pie. Like I can tell by your description I might not. So there's not like the crust of the pie. The other parts aren't there. But like what happens to cherry in the oven over a period of time, like something's happened to it that it's morphed a little. But that side of it really attaches well to I think where the oud, almost smokiness is coming through, a little incensey, and then it goes into like a lighter woods, kind of deeper side comes through, and then it brings you back to the top where it's like the bright side of the cherry again. Almost the 7-Eleven like cherry icy, but it doesn't quite go that nostalgic. It just has a fun part that brings you back to the brighter side at the top.
There's no pork in this. But it is weirdly like a Hawaiian cherry, like a tropical cherry somehow for me.
I think there's two cherries in here. I think there's one that's like more of a black cherry, like almost a liqueur kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And then maybe that meets with the rum part, which I forgot about. And then I think it goes on the other side that is that like fun, nostalgic, bright neon red kind of a thing that comes through.
That's the main part I got.
There's parts of this that are not gourmandy at all. And it really kind of holds down the fort for the rest to be a little more on the fun side. So it approaches the line of wanting to be able to take a bite, but I wouldn't actually do it. And I think that the parts of the cherry that you have don't get pokey. Like some of the lost cherry ones, depending on all of the homages and stuff that we have, I'm good after like 2 hours. I'm like, okay, that's enough of a gourmand to be around. Right. This one kind of rides that line in a safe way because it really has the bases and other things like the coumarin and stuff going on in there. The spices kind of tame it down. I think as your day goes, those would be the parts that actually stick with you more because you get used to the cherryness and then you want to kind of discover what's around it.
We had a Mother's Day breakfast this morning with Sarah's mom, who has no idea why we would want to wear gourmands and smell like Captain Crunch or Fruit Loops or mint juleps. I think she would love something like this. This is very different.
I feel like these are one of those scents that if one of the dads had their kids pick out their scent of the day, there's a part of this that is fun to them. But I also think it has a little bit more turned up like the adult sides with the rum and the oud going on that makes it a little more palatable instead of feeling like you're just eating cherries all day like a kid would enjoy. This really does ride that line for it's good for both parties. I feel like where Lost Cherry gets a little bit more powdery, a little lighter. Right. This one plays off the darker, kind of deeper side. So it does approach that masculine portion where I think sometimes Lost Cherry can be a little polarizing for some people. Mm-hmm. This actually is a little bit safer for the gents a little bit.
And I think Lost Cherry pulls against a tobacco where this is pulling against a rum. And last night, we watched Pirates of the Caribbean, the original, to find out where the rum's gone. Even ran into a documentary on grog on YouTube. Boiled rum and sugar, and you drink it. You notice I say you drink it.
If I hadn't read rum, I don't think I would have known it's in here.
Red rum!
Red rum! Red rum! But now looking for it, I can see that that's where my brain was putting like nice kind of cozy spices, not cinnamons, not those kinds, but just the kind of fun, kind of turned up versions that you get in a rum without it going too boozy. I gotta admit, now I'm kind of sad we don't have the splash. Like there's something just kind of got a cool depth going on in here, my friends.
Why do you think I went to the sales page to see if it was still in stock, to see if we could still grab the splash? Because this is wild.
Like I almost feel like this would be a fun splash to throw on Lainey. Like there's just something about like a fun adventure going on here or seeing the world in a new way that I really like that this seems more like of a hand, more artist side. Like that's what I'm getting from the cherry. There is a little more artsy, kind of twisted fun version going on.
All right, y'all, come along with us. We're going to build one of our very last K2E lathers and take another look at these scent notes. All right, And from the sales page at shavingshopclub.com, we do have a list of scent notes here, and it starts with bitter orange. That's the cola scents I was getting under the surface of this. I knew there was something from Coca-Cola in there. Bitter orange, aromatic, almost neroli. Beautiful.
And that's what's keeping the cherry brighter. Like when those two sides connect, that adds the fun bright side.
And then cherry, and I love that it's followed by tonka. You bet. Some coumarin already hiding in there. A beautiful dapper sense.
And then that's next to vanilla and brown sugar. So parts do get a little sweeter here, but that's kind of where the sweetness stops for me.
And that's the perfect way to hide the vanilla under a little bit of a sense of caramelized burnt sugar. Fabulous. And then, moving right along, we've got our oud. Now, how much hamster cage do you get in there? Because I'm not sensing it like that.
Not at all. I almost get like a gentle incensey smoke.
Right.
But just super mysterious in the way, way back burner.
And if we've got a pyramid that's cherries, rum, oud, that's how it goes for me. The oud is very subtle under the surface.
But next on our list here, we have rum next to coffee.
See, that's why I'm thinking this is a drink. This is beautiful. Not the bitter part of the coffee, more like an espresso steam.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That's what I sense in there. And then under that, a little sandalwood. I knew there was some kind of something hinting at a lactonic, and it's the creaminess of the sandalwood for me doing that, giving you a little bit of a vanilla ice cream sense when that binds with the vanilla. And then a little bit of an unexpected final note here. We've got
Himalayan cedar. So both of us got like an almost cherry wood or tiki wood or something. So it must just be how the warmer brown sugar vanilla's cherry business is mixing with cedar.
Himalayan something. Giggity. That's why I thought it was a rum and cherry Coke. That cedar is giving me the effervescence of the bubbles of that drink. This is not something you serve on a plate. It's something you serve in a highball. And there's emu in there.
Ooh. Which they have cherry cola as well, but this is completely different. This is a different side to the cherry.
My brain did not even register their cherry cola cream because the scents are so very different. That one goes heavy cola. This just hints at it. That one doesn't have the rum or the oud. This is far more grown up. This is far more of something even an executive could get away with in a boardroom.
I like that this has a black label behind the cherry. Somehow that helps kind of make the difference. Where cherry cola to me is on a tan lighter, almost like a creamy label, and that's where the scents are completely different.
So I really wanted you to be able to see this K2E lather, so I grabbed my big head shaver size KUN bowl from the KUN workshop. I love this thing, and I'm just going to grab about an almond size of this soft soap. See, that's how you know it's vanilla.
Yep.
See, when you dig down and it hasn't oxidized yet underneath, the brown layer is on top, that's a good tell that you got some vanilla going on in here. I'm just going to press the soap into the ridges of this bowl and make kind of a thin layer for my brush to grab at. And this is my vintage shaving brush homage from Ariana and Evans. I got the Badger knot. Now, I'm not going to soak it because Craig at Opus Brush forbids it. He said it only takes a few seconds for water to soak into a brush, and wouldn't you rather that water already have some soap in it? And we do not argue with Craig when it comes to brushes, y'all. All right, so here we go. The dry brush going in, starting to pull that soap up onto its bristles. They are a little bit gel-tipped, which is lovely. And our first goal is just to transfer that Kaizen base up onto the brush itself. We want to build the lather in step 2. Smell that lost cherry sense coming through there, right?
But then it changes right away.
It does, immediately. And then just about the time the octopus arms are devoid of soap, I'm going to go down here, grab the rest of the water, and look at this. Y'all, it's about control. Then I can add water as I need to, and I need to.
It is cool knowing after almost 750 somewhat soaps here that even between the ones that have a similar concept with cherry, that the scents are actually completely different. Like each artisan does a fun little twist on everything.
Right. Even Lost Cherry itself has 2 flankers from Tom Ford that I think did even better. The electric cherry and smoky cherry.
You can just hear that. My goodness.
This, and I still need some more water. I like my lathers to be just a tiny bit thicker than I want them on the face because I soak my face with water, and I think that water is the last step. And look at this. Even this much lather, it's not getting foamy. It's not turning into meringue. It's turning into yogurt. And it's staying in the bowl. Our first few episodes, it was like Lawrence Welk over here. And if you got that joke, you should probably have a prostate exam along with me. I'm still too young for Mitch Miller, but I'm sure a few of our viewers have followed the bouncing ball a time or two. I mean, I know we never talk about lather here in the Barbershop Duet, but today we're going to talk about yogurt. Look at the peaks and valleys going on in this, and look at this badger brush ready to give up the booty. And this is something you will only find here in the Barbershop Duet. This is the one for my grandpa and one more for the road with. On 3, 1, 2. That really does take me back to his cherry rum and cokes. That's fabulous.
Oh, this got a lot cleaner over here, like a little more powdery almost.
Even reminds me that my grandma was over in the corner smoking Marlboro cigarettes. Little bit of that spark of freshly lit smoke is in here from the oud. It's just the smell of summer vacation for me. I'm so glad we're doing this in May. I used to spend 2 weeks with Grandpa every summer. And we were just watching Daniel Malou do a straight razor shave on himself with the Legacy base the other day. We don't do shaving here in the Barbershop Duet, but we thought you might like to see what this lather looks like when it coats and covers a beautiful moneymaker. Look at that. Look at this, y'all. And it's an animal brush. Well, y'all, I hope you saved some room for dessert, because we're going to take this down just a little bit deeper. Now, when I was growing up, I did not like cherries because my grandparents had a tree in their backyard and they always made me eat them when they were a little bit underripe. So that 5-year-old palate was like, wah, wah, wah. However, at Hilltop Mall in Richmond, California, around the ice skating rink, there was a restaurant called Scoopy's where you could sit there and watch everybody skate. And my mom ordered me my first sundae. And I was like, what's a sundae? And she's like, you'll see. Y'all, this came with a big old scoop of vanilla ice cream. And then the hat was the sugar cone. Ooh. And then the collar was whipped cream. And there were little chocolate chips for the eyes. And I realized he was a clown that I got to eat while I watched him melt and watch the ice skaters. And his buttons were maraschino cherries. And that's when I knew what cherry could be. I will never forget those sundaes.
I actually have cherries in the fridge right now because I got some for Mother's Day and I ended up getting 2 bags for the price of 1. And they're the perfect deep dark red. But I know what you're talking about when you bite when it's too light in color and you're like, oh, that wasn't the taste I was going for. It is a different experience on each little cherry. I have to say, I don't know if I ever would have thought to put cherry into an EDP or to put it in a formulation like this, but I'm so glad that we get to experience this version of a cherry instead of like a cherry chapstick or a cherry, lollipop or something. It is much different as an adult refined palate to smell it in this type of ratio that it makes you really appreciate the natural sides of the fruit we have, but you could just always turn it up a little fancier here.
I think cherry is the perfect fruit scent. I do. In fact, look how we use the word. If somebody's car is like perfectly restored, what do you call it? Grapefruit. And I think we both stumbled upon the kind of secret weapon of this in that it's more of a cherry wood and a little bit of cherry blossom as much as it is the fruit itself. What rosewood does for rose, this does for cherry. That's the masterful part in here.
Even the rum, the kumar, and the coffee, like the other parts that are in here, are just helping the cherry be a better version of itself.
And we did take one final dive into the Shaving Shop Club page and picked up Indo Ink and Levert Orange. Right. And a couple of others that we're going to do before they go away forever. Stay tuned. But I'm just going to live in cherry country for a while. When did the cherry blossoms come out in D.C. in Tokyo?
Yeah. Are they already done?
This time of year?
I think so. I think April, May.
So it's pretty simple, y'all. Just be Marcus on his 21st birthday, heading down to the American Legion Hall with his grandfather Reuben to order his first alcoholic beverage out the bar. You're going to show your ID to the bartender, even though he didn't ask to see it. And you're going to ponder what you want for your very first drink. And your grandfather's going to say, 2 rum and cherry cokes, and then whatever Marcus wants as well. And you're going to get your own. So head over to aegrooming.com or shavingshopclub.com to find this and a bunch of other stuff I want. Well, I've had my shave, y'all, with cherry pie. And I'm delighted to report that unlike its cousin from A&E, American Pie, that one's in the gourmand lane for me. This one is not. It's like they went in and carved out the cherry from Lost Cherry, left it alone, and then added a little bit of rum and oud over the top, making it much more at home in the boardroom than it is at a 50s diner. And I love this scent. And y'all, in one of the most coveted bases in the wet shaving world. And when it finally retires on that very last day, I'm going to go out and bury some of it next to the garage and the leg lamp and play taps gently. Hey, welcome to Messages.
So for our May giveaway, we wanted to give you a chance to get $25 to Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements.
Yeah, y'all, and all you have to do to be eligible for this giveaway is send us an email here to we sent you at thebarbershopduet.com so we can get back to you. It's the only way we communicate about our giveaways, and then check back here on our first June episode to see if you are our lucky winner.
Best of luck.
So y'all, A&E is in a state of metamorphosis. They are coming out of their cocoon as we speak with brand new low-profile frosted glass jars and an entirely new line in their Ultimate 2 base. Stay tuned for some mysteries and wonders and a few more of the Last Call series from the K2E base. Hey, Peter, Talia, and Evelyn, thank you so much for sending these out for free to review and believing in our little show. You have been one of our great inspirations from the very beginning, and you continue to blow our skirts up to the ceiling, and we so appreciate it.
We really are truly grateful. Don't forget your next appointment with the Barbershop Duet.
You'll smell better just watching this.